Have you ever wondered about the earliest women in human history? The ones whose names are barely whispered in our ancient texts. Today, we're not just skimming through the well-thumbed pages of Genesis. Instead, we're delving into the lives of those who've been in the background for far too long. The daughters of Adam and Eve. You know Adam and Eve, right? The very first couple, the ones who started it all according to Judeo-Christian beliefs. But here's something that might surprise you. Adam lived for 930 years. Now think about this for a second. In a lifespan that long, he and Eve would have had many children, not just the sons we often hear about. Yes, they had daughters, and these women, believe it or not, played a crucial role in the tapestry of human history. But why don't we hear about them as much? Well, that's the mystery we're unraveling today. These women lived in a time so different from ours, a time that laid the very foundations of human civilization as we know it. Their stories are fragments, scattered across texts like the Book of Jubilees and other ancient scriptures. These are tales that don't just tell us about their lives. They give us a glimpse into the dawn of humanity. So, join us as we journey through time. We're going to uncover the layers of history, sift through myths and legends, and piece together the lives of these extraordinary women. Adam and Eve's story unfolds in the Hebrew Bible with two distinct creation narratives. In these, they are not only the first humans, but also the archetypal figures in a history of mankind that intertwines with divine intervention and moral lessons. From the idyllic Garden of Eden to their eventual banishment, their journey is not just a tale of the first humans, but also the starting point for all human genealogy. Genesis, the first book of the Bible, records the descendants of Adam and Eve, primarily focusing on their sons. However, it's the daughters of this iconic duo that remain less discussed, yet equally significant. The Bible hints at their existence, mentioning that Adam lived for 930 years, fathering many sons and daughters. This detail opens a world of untold stories, suggesting a vast lineage emanating from this first couple. But our understanding of Adam and Eve's legacy isn't confined to the canonical texts of the Bible. Apocryphal texts, like the Book of Jubilees, also known as the Lesser Genesis, expand on this narrative. Considered canonical by Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church and Ethiopian Jews, the Book of Jubilees delves into the division of days, events of the years, and the jubilees of the world as revealed to Moses. This text, alongside others from the Dead Sea Scrolls, offers a broader perspective on the early genealogies and the roles played by Adam and Eve's descendants. What's fascinating about exploring these texts is how they provide a more nuanced and detailed account of the earliest generations of humans. For instance, the genealogies in Genesis focus on lineal male descent to Abraham, but apocryphal texts offer insights into the lives and significance of other members of Adam and Eve's family, including. Now, let's turn our attention to the Book of Jubilees, a fascinating text that offers a unique perspective on the early stories of the Bible. This book, sometimes called Lesser Genesis, is an ancient Jewish apocryphal text, meaning it's a religious work that isn't part of the standard biblical canon. But don't let that fool you. The insights it offers are invaluable for understanding the early biblical era. The Book of Jubilees is considered canonical by the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church and Ethiopian Jews, where it's known as the Book of Division. It's revered for its detailed account of biblical events, particularly those from the Book of Genesis. What makes Jubilees stand out is its focus on the division of the days of the law and the jubilees of the world. This isn't just a retelling of Genesis, it's a comprehensive chronology, basing its timeline on multiples of 7. A number often associated with completeness and divinity in biblical texts. One of the most striking aspects of Jubilees is how it was received and preserved throughout history. It was well known to early Christians, with several church fathers referencing it in their writings. The Dead Sea Scrolls, one of the most significant archaeological discoveries of the 20th century, included fragments of Jubilees, confirming its importance during that era. Jubilees claims to present history as revealed to Moses by angels during his time on Mount Sinai. This claim to divine revelation gives the book a unique standing, as it suggests that the text offers a heavenly perspective on the unfolding of human history. The chronology in Jubilees, based on the Jubilee system of 49-year cycles, presents a structured timeline of biblical events, offering a different lens through which to view the early stories of the Bible. The Book of Jubilees also provides additional context to the stories of biblical figures, particularly those less emphasized in the canonical texts. For instance, it delves deeper into the lives of Adam and Eve's children, including their daughters, who are often overlooked in traditional biblical narratives. This expansion on the Genesis narrative offers a richer, more detailed picture of the early human experience. Now let's focus on the lesser-known yet equally important figures in the early chapters of human history, the daughters of Adam and Eve. While their brothers, like Cain and Seth, are often mentioned in biblical texts, these women have stories that are rarely told, yet they hold a unique place in the lineage of humankind. First, let's talk about Avan, also known as Kalima in some texts. She's a figure who appears in the Book of Jubilees and other ancient scriptures. Her story is particularly intriguing because she is not only Cain's sister, but also his wife. Now, this might sound strange to us today, but in the context of the early human population, as depicted in these ancient texts, such unions were not uncommon. Avan's role as the mother of Enoch, not to be confused with the Enoch in the Book of Enoch, places her at the heart of the early genealogical tree of humanity. Then, there's Azura, another daughter of Adam and Eve, whose life story takes a dramatic turn. Initially, she was Abel's wife. However, after Abel's untimely death, she married his brother Seth. This union is not just a mere family tie, it's a crucial link in the biblical lineage. Azura, as the mother of Enos and other children, played a significant role in the genealogy that leads to Noah. Her story, as presented in these ancient texts, provides a glimpse into the complex familial dynamics of the earliest humans. These stories of Avan and Azura offer us a window into a world vastly different from our own, a world where the first families of humankind navigated the challenges of life in ways that might seem alien to us now. These narratives, woven through the texts, like the Book of Jubilees, are not just genealogical records, they are tales of survival and the enduring human spirit. Let's delve deeper into the genealogical significance of Adam and Eve's lineage, particularly focusing on their descendants through Seth. This lineage is not just a list of names. It represents the unfolding of early human history and its connection to key biblical events. Seth, as you might know, is one of the sons of Adam and Eve. He was born after the tragic death of Abel and plays a pivotal role in biblical genealogy. Seth's importance comes from his role as the ancestor of Noah, a central figure in the story of the Great Flood. This lineage, therefore, connects the very creation of humanity to one of the most significant events in the Bible. The genealogy through Seth is detailed in the Book of Genesis and other ancient texts. It highlights a line of descent that includes several notable figures, such as Enos, the son of Seth and Azura. Enos is particularly interesting because he is known for his piety and for initiating the practice of calling on God's name. This act symbolizes a deepening of the human-divine relationship and marks a significant moment in the spiritual development of early humans. Now, why is all this important? Well, understanding the genealogical significance of these early biblical figures helps us appreciate the continuity and evolution of religious and cultural narratives over time. It's like tracing the roots of a tree. By following the branches of Seth's lineage, we get a clearer picture of how ancient stories and beliefs have shaped and influenced the world we know today. Exploring the biblical contradictions and cultural context surrounding Adam and Eve's story brings us to a fascinating intersection of myth, theology, and history. The Book of Genesis itself presents two distinct creation narratives, each offering a different perspective on the origins of humanity. In the first narrative, humankind is created in God's image, male and female, with no specific mention of Adam and Eve. In the second narrative, Adam is fashioned from dust, and Eve is created from his rib as a companion. This duality in the creation story sets the stage for a variety of interpretations and understandings throughout history and across cultures. The story of Adam and Eve has been a subject of extensive elaboration in later Abrahamic traditions. It has been analyzed and reinterpreted by modern biblical scholars, leading to a multitude of interpretations. For instance, while the traditional Judeo-Christian perspective often views Eve as the first to be unfaithful, Islamic traditions hold that Adam and Eve were equally responsible for their sins. This divergence in interpretation highlights the story's influence and its varied impact on different religious and cultural contexts. Further, the story of Adam and Eve is not frequently mentioned elsewhere in the Hebrew Scriptures, with only a single listing of Adam in a genealogy in 1 Chronicles 1:1. This suggests that while the story is foundational to the Judeo-Christian narrative, it may not have been central to the broader Jewish historical and religious context. In addition to these textual variations, the cultural implications of the Adam and Eve narrative are profound. The story has been used to justify various social and moral norms throughout history. For example, the concept of original sin, derived from their story, has shaped theological and ethical discussions in Christianity. The roles and portrayal of Adam and Eve in the narrative have also influenced gender roles and relationships in various societies. Also, in Genesis 5:4 states that Adam had other sons and daughters, but it doesn't specify how many. This lack of detail has led to various interpretations and traditions regarding the extent of Adam and Eve's progeny. Jewish tradition, for instance, offers more expansive views on the number of children Adam and Eve had. The Talmud and other Jewish texts speculate on the number of Adam and Eve's children, with some sources suggesting that they had 33 sons and 23 daughters. This tradition emphasizes the idea of Adam and Eve as the progenitors of the entire human race, suggesting a vast and diverse lineage that would be necessary to populate the world. What do you think? Be sure to let us know your thoughts in the comments, and as always, please like and subscribe for more content just like this. Until next time.